Dry fasting. Want to make a video today about dry fasting, what it is, some thoughts about it, and also relating it to something that's happened recently that I am quite sad about, worried about, and think people need to know about. So dry fasting is a practice. Well, for a start, let's start with fasting. Fasting is the practice of intentionally going without food, usually for reasons of either religious cleansing or health reasons, and it's a very ancient old practice. I mean, it's just a natural thing that happens when you don't have enough food at the end of the day. When you don't have any food, you go without food. But to intentionally go without food for a specific reason, that's really what I think of as fasting. So there's an intentional decision to go without food. Some people say that fasting should only happen when the body makes a kind of signal that fasting should happen, or that the body tells you to do it, or whatever. I think some of that is a bit random, a bit vague. Who really knows when the body's telling you to eat or not? There's clearly too many arguments and examples against that. You know, people are very sick and they don't fast naturally. So where's the body? You know, it's almost like they're saying you should only fast on a really, really extreme occasion. That doesn't really make sense to me. Or, you know, waiting for the body a body initiated fast. I don't think so, you know. And I made another video about fasting in general before, because I think too many people, it's almost like this ongoing thing in their life that they're always fasting for every. I mean, I don't think it's a great achievement when someone says, I've done 50 juice fasts, I've done 100 water fasts. Like, get on with your life, you know what I mean? Stop trying to constantly cleanse, getting attached to the idea of cleansing, of I need to purify myself, I need to cleanse, I need to, you know, I don't like people that basically continually get into this kind of mindset. Anyway, so dry fasting is something else. It's a practice of going without food and going without water, so consuming nothing, nil by mouth is probably what the medical term. Intentionally going out without food and water. Most people think that you can't live without water, that you would die after 3 days. And this isn't true. Many people have dry fasted for longer than that, and I know people that have dry fasted for 7 days, and I don't know if some have went longer than that, but I know a few people that have done it for 7 days. Those people were quite healthy people who were also practicing a better diet, raw foods, had done other fasts before, things like that. The person I'd heard about it from was a guy called Robert Lockhart, and he talks about dry fasting in certain situations. One of them that I think is quite a good idea is doing a fast during long airline flights. I think that's actually quite a good idea for avoiding jet lag. I think that's quite a good idea. But to me, dry fasting is quite a dangerous practice. I think, and I've seen other people do it. I don't think people. I'm not really impressed. You know, I don't think it's a great. In saying I'm not impressed, I'm not. I'm curious. I'm interested when people say that they've done it for 7 days. It's interesting. It's interesting to know that the human body can go that long without any water, and it's maybe essential to know that. in certain situations. If you ever had, if you were caught on a boat or something, I don't know, in the middle of the sea, it's good to know that you've definitely got 7 days of not having, of not needing water. But there's no real need to push yourself to these kind of limits, I don't think. And I think there's a lot of people that are kind of experimenting with it and doing it. I get more and more concerned about fasting as a thing in general, because with everything in life, there's what the 95 or the 90% will do, and the 80% will do, and it'll be all fine, and everyone will have an experience, and they'll do their own thing, and they'll have people around them, and they'll have people checking up on them, and they'll be healthy enough, and nothing will happen, and that's all fine. And then you'll get that, unfortunately, you'll get that 10 or 5% to do something different, and that's in life where a lot of rules and regulations come from. It's not for the, most people are kind of conscious enough to drive safely and everything else, but there's a small amount of people who are going to drive a car when they're really drunk or whatever. I don't know, just an example. Like there's a percentage of people that will do that, and so the laws and regulations have to be set down, and the whole tone of how everything is has to be set down to kind of stop vulnerable people from doing things that are going to harm them. All sorts of, you go into different jobs, different situations in life, you have to go through training courses on how to pick things up, training courses on how to operate certain bits of machinery. Things have got protective things on them because there's someone out there in the world who sticks their hand in, and I wonder what happens if I put my hand in this and gets the hand cut off or something. There's people that do these kind of things. At the same time, there's lots of vulnerable people out there coming into the raw food diet and lifestyle and getting influenced by things that they hear and trying things out on their own. Recently, there was a post online about a guy called Matthias Ulrich, and I never knew the guy, never met him. A couple of friends posted about this. One of those is a guy that I met in Spain at a raw food festival 4 or 5 years ago, a guy called Karsten, and he was a great guy. Really, really liked Karsten, and I think he lives in a kind of an eco kind of community, like an off the grid type community in Spain. They're eating raw foods, they're doing all that kind of stuff, so they're having a great time out there. So I think this guy Matthias might have been there at one point, and he was also at the Terra Frutus community. So these are kind of two communities that are in different parts of the world that are kind of, at the very least they're advocating fruit and fruitarian ideas, and I don't know anything else really about what they're advocating. But I think the guy went to Africa, and I don't really know what his plans were in Africa, if he was travelling or whatever else, and got malaria, it seems. I don't think it's all very clear yet, and died of malaria in Africa. And this guy was 27 years old, and I'm looking at these posts, and I'm just, I didn't even know the guy, and I'm just like, to some extent, I was kind of amazed by some of the reaction of some people, which was like, oh, that's a bummer. I was thinking of going to Africa as well. Like, like the only thing they were thinking about was how this affects their travel plans or travel ideas. And I'm reading this going, wait, what happened here? What happened to this guy? No one should be dying of malaria. And a thing came out today, I don't know if it was a coroner's report or a medical report, and it said cause of death potentially dehydration. Didn't say it was dehydration, but it said potentially cause of death dehydration. This guy died, 27 years old. Piecing it together, it seems like he's contracted malaria, and apparently a number of people have commented on it, saying that he experimented with dry fasting before, that he'd had malaria before and had tried some fasting, I think, or was trying to heal with natural methods. So there's a couple of things that worry me about this, and that's that this community is there's a kind of idealism that sweeps throughout this community that ends in that has ended up potentially in probably not the first time, definitely not the first time that someone's actually died as a result of a kind of idealism towards the idea that just do everything in the kind of natural way and everything will be alright. I don't know the full story with what's happened to the guy, what condition he was in, but I suspect that possibly an attempt at doing a dry fast is involved in this, and I don't think that was a good idea, and I don't know if any serious practitioner would have, any person that I've heard of would have advocated that in his condition. I don't know. By the way, the one other place that dry fasting is good is maybe for someone that's had maybe got toothache, something like that. So that essentially, so you're not stimulating the area with cold water. But so that's an aside. But it really concerns me. The whole thing concerns me. It worries me that things like dry fasting are getting out there and potentially in certain vulnerable situations, and maybe not even vulnerable situations. I know that Durian Ryder and Freely talked years ago about a housemate they had who did a dry fast and her kidneys shut down. Once again, it's from dehydration. And it's really dangerous, and as I say, it's potentially the thing that's caused this person to die. It's really sad that the good intentions of people's advice and things that he's maybe watched over the years. I was looking in some of because he's got a YouTube channel, I was checking to see what videos he's liked on and videos that he's watched in the past. I don't know why I'm investigating this so much, but I feel a sense of responsibility more and more towards people that are coming into this lifestyle to try and keep people sort of safe from, because there is a few potential things like this that could happen. Also, just even the idea of like what was he doing travelling in Africa? What was he doing out there? There's all sorts of questions that come up. Africa is something that's really called. I really like the idea of going there as well. But you start to wonder what are these influences that's led towards this kind of tragedy. And the other thing is that when it comes to malaria, is that malaria, as far as I'm aware, I've not fully researched this, but as far as I'm aware, malaria can be treated with medication. There's anti-malarial stuff. There's definitely shots and things that people take before, and I know that the problem is there's this part of the community that all flare up when you start talking about things like this, as if all medication is bad, or that only natural methods should be used, and that all vaccination stuff and not anti-vaccination, but all that kind of stuff is wrong, and it's just too simplistic a view. It's too simplistic a view. This guy would have probably been a lot better just coming back to Europe straight away. As soon as you've got malaria or something like that, just if he was able to, get out of Africa. I know that Africa is probably quite developed in some parts, but it's not worth the risk, I don't think. So I guess I wanted to get that off my chest a little bit, and I think that over the next few weeks that'll come up again and again, because I don't think the full story's come out there. But dry fasting is your own risk. It's potentially quite a big risk. It's certainly not a good idea to do it over if you've got a condition that is proven to be treated medically. Then there's really I don't think there's much great benefit in experimenting with trying to heal it naturally. As far as I'm concerned, if you're practicing this lifestyle and you get sick, you'd already put yourself in the best position to have your immunity as high as possible. You were already in the best position, and that's not been enough. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. I'm still trying to get some thoughts together. But I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down below. Your comments. If you know anything about that situation, if you knew Matthias at all. But I'm concerned, and I also feel like some of these communities, like I never hear anything particularly good coming out of them. I feel like a lot of bad situations, people coming out of these, visiting not only these foreign countries and third world countries, but places where there's some of these communities, and I feel like people leave these communities sometimes in worse shape than they became part of them. I've heard a lot of bad stories. So it's kind of a warning to people to really research where you're going, where you're staying, who you're going to be staying with. I don't feel like I can recommend anyone or any of these places to anyone. But the only thing I can recommend fully are the festivals and the people that go there, because a lot of them are really well run and well organised. But these other kind of fruitarian communities I don't know much about. Anyway, this video is run on long till 18 minutes. And just to conclude, to bring it all together, dry fasting is dangerous. I personally think people should stop promoting it so much, and if by practicing it you're promoting it. I think this guy's died because he's tried the dry fast. I think that's what I'm picking up from this information. I might be completely wrong about it, but I kind of feel like it was only a matter of time, and that's a sad thing to say, that it's a matter of time when people start promoting these kind of dangerous therapies without supervision, and all the rest of it, and posting the results, and I think if you're gonna do that, there should be severe warnings around it, severe warnings added to it. If you're going to put information out there, act as if you're going to be responsible one day. Act as if someone might actually act on the information you're putting out. Act as if someone might, follow. I'd never put out a dry fasting, a video about any of these things without severe caution to people, and advising them to get, further advice on it and opinion and stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching today. I don't want to be a downer or anything, but I want everyone to think about what they're doing and be safe. and know that there's some vulnerable people out there that need to be protected from their own vulnerability, and you know, at the end of the day, I want what's best for everyone out there. So I don't want to keep rambling, but give me some feedback. I'd love to know your thoughts on this whole situation, and I'd like to hear your comments and thoughts on dry fasting. And I get it, a lot of you will have tried it out, experienced it, and had a good